is always good that we come together. I like to start off by saying that you can have a lot of facts about things. You can have a lot of things that will give you information. The thing is that the type of information you have, the type of facts you have, depending upon what is entailed, there's certain things that you might know that by just knowing it and not having a solution to resolve it can be a very nuisance thing, because you don't know how to put it in place so that it would be the best for you. Such as, if the wicked man will understand, which he has no understanding, because wickedness can't give you understanding. See, wickedness, when you begin to do lying and you make it a part of you, if you sit down and say the end results of this would bring me into circumstances that's unfavorable, then you may just continue doing that. A righteous man that sits down and says in his righteousness, even though it may not seem to be yielding a particular fruit that is visible at that time, but he says, by me doing this, this is going to yield a great fruit, or is going to yield what is desirable for me in the long run. We should always take this inventory of the things that we participate in, because it is relative to our survival. When Yahweh God says these things, he puts it in there for a reason by which we will, if given close attention to, it brings us into clarity so that we won't make mistakes. As it says in Isaiah 8, verse 20, to the Torah and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, is because there is no light in them. And he says to the Torah, to the testimony. And all of these is relative to us as a people, because as we search and understand our position, Yahweh God tells us why to the Torah, to the testimony. He says, for he established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a Torah in Israel. So that's why he says to the Torah and to the testimony, because the Torah and the testimony was given to Israel. That's why in Isaiah 8 verse 20 and Psalm 78 verse 5, he said, he established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a Torah in Israel. So Yahweh said that if they don't come with this, there's no light in that, because that's your light. You understand? That what gives you the light. But if you don't know what pertains to you, it's like a person that's in the world and don't know who they are. You understand? We say we're Africans, meaning on a continent. But we have to identify to what area did we come from. What people, definitely we merged into every group of those that came into our midst. We mingled within them as they mingle among us to this day. But yet still they have their identity. Therefore, they have their identity so that they will know exactly where they belong. You have to know where you belong, whether you're a gypsy or whatever name. That gives you a focus of destination and purpose in the earth. And I'm saying to you is this, that this Torah gives it to us in such a way by which when we read it, we acquire information that will help us and give us total direction, because it's a food. And therefore, without the food, we die. That's why, that he might make thee know that man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Yahweh, thus man liveth by. He said that it is the word that is the food that man needs to know. He needs to know the word of God. He has to, because it is a food. He dines on the word of God. He says here that he might make them know that man does not live by bread alone. We live by every word. Even the wicked man lives by the word of God. You understand? If Yahweh God don't say it, we can't reap the benefits of it, because it is the word that has created everything. You understand? And therefore, being that the word that has created everything, and that we who have nourished ourselves in the word of Yahweh God, so that we might stand strong in his word. That's why it says, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please it. And it shall prosper in the thing whereto I send it. He says, for as the rain cometh down and the snow from heaven, and return not hither, but watereth the earth, and maketh it bring forth buds, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. So and that's Isaiah chapter 55, verse 8 to 11. So Yahweh said, this is established by his word. And therefore, it said, it is no light in them if they come not with the testimony. If they come not speaking the things that will nourish you, because this is something that Yahweh God gave you so that you might survive, and he wants you to know. That's how he said, behold, the day cometh, said Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not for a famine of bread, nor thirst for water, but for hearing the word of Yahweh. See, the people are dying because they ain't hearing no word. They're not being fed. And that testimony and Torah, you have no light in the world if it's not being taught correctly. It has to be taught correctly. It feeds the people. It feeds so that the people are nourished in its righteousness. And that's why I said, and they shall wander from sea to sea, and from north even to east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh, and shall not find it. Why? Because it's not being taught right. But you. That's why he said, if they don't come with it, there's no light in them. So if there's no light in them, is there light in us? And where does the light abide, so that we will know that Yahweh God has given us that light that we need to survive? He said, for the commandments is a lamp, and the Torah is a light. So even though, as it says here in Isaiah 60, it says here, arise and shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of Yahweh is risen upon thee. For behold, darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. Why? Because the people don't keep the Torah. Because the Torah is the light. And if you keep in the Torah, the word of your God is feeding you. You already got it. You're looking for what you have. Because there's only one thing that can save you. When you read this book, it is a recipe that will give you an insight of absolute truth of what is fruitful and what will give you what you need. But it takes the Spirit. That's why, and it shall be our righteousness. And we observe to do all these commandments before Yahweh thy God, as He has commanded us. He said, this is our righteousness. He said, if we would do these things, if we will keep the commandments, if we will serve Yahweh our God, because see, you can't get out of this. There's nothing that anybody can help you with if you do not have the righteousness of Yahweh. And the righteousness of Yahweh is approved by the commandments of Yahweh. He says in Ezekiel chapter 14, verse 14, thus these three men, Noah, Daniel, and Job, were in it. They shall not deliver but their own souls by their righteousness. See, said Yahweh Elohim, if I cause loosed beasts to pass through the land, and they spoil it, so that it be desolate, that no man may pass through because of the beast, though these three men were in it, as I live, said Yahweh, they shall deliver neither son nor daughter. They only shall be delivered, but the land shall be desolate. Or if I bring a sword upon the land, and say, sword, go through the land, so that I cut off men and beasts from it, though these three men were in it, as I live, said Yahweh Elohim, they shall deliver neither son nor daughter, but they only shall be delivered themselves. Or if I send a pestilence in the land, and pour out my fury upon it in blood, to cut off from it men and beasts, though Noah, Daniel, and Job were in it, as I live, it said Yahweh Elohim, they shall deliver neither son nor daughter. They shall but deliver their own souls by their own righteousness. See, this is what it is. By your actions. But before we go on, I'd like to tell you that Pesach is coming up, Passover, and this is our house. This is our life. By being obedient to these commandments, by serving our God, as it says, that we will reap the benefits of our doings. We don't have to worry about tomorrow. Yahweh keeps telling you, don't worry about it. There's nothing you can do about it. What you can do is what you set yourself up. That Yahweh wants you to know your righteousness. Because while the world is running around and doing all kind of foolish things and making all kind of terrible situations because they're searching here and searching there and can't find their way out of the confusion. But Yahweh God has sent a message to you, and He wants you to know that message, that the message that He sends to you in these books are message that is true. And therefore, you search these things, and you must know how truthful it is so that you don't get all entangled. And Yahweh said there's going to be trouble. He said, be not weary, for when the day of trouble and heaviness cometh, others shall reap and be sorrowful, but thou shalt be merry and have abundance. See, this is what? This is in 2nd Ezra. And he's telling you, 2nd Ezra chapter 2. Starting at verse 27. And he said, the heathen shall envy thee, but they shall be able to do nothing against thee, said Yahweh. My hand shall cover thee, so that thy children shall not see hell. That's right. So when these things come upon, that's why Yahweh saying the 23rd, so I'm going to put a table in the presence of your enemy. Do you understand? This evil people want you to fail when they fail. They want you to go down when they go down. But the thing about their anguish is to see the very reverse. My God, we thought we had them trapped off. You understand? But Yahweh has promised. He said, I'm going to raise them up right before you. While you going down, they going to be going up. And they say they can't do nothing without us. What do you mean? You can't do nothing. We can't do nothing without God. Yahweh, God, has the last word. Not man. Man don't have the last word here. We must know the profile of wickedness. Because wickedness is greed. And therefore it has no foresight. His whole thing is greed. He takes on destruction as though it's a friend. As long as he gets his way, and his way doesn't even suit him, because he wants the good out of life and give you the worst, when he should want the worst. Because why would you want to be a murderer and not look forward to be murdered? That's why he said, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Every man shall reap what he has sown. This is a fact. There's nothing more fear than you receiving what you've done. Who can detest and say that's unjust? You killed my dog, I should kill your dog. Then that makes you responsible not to kill my dog. It's saying the Torah talks of responsibility. People, you shouldn't do that. Of course you should. If you open up a pit and I fall in it and get hurt, you're supposed to take care of me because you was responsible to close the pit. If you had a animal that it took in with his horns and you knew it, you're supposed to keep him in. The law was structured for an agricultural people. Anything other than when Yahweh gave you, he gave you a perfect law. An industrialized civilization is an imperfect civilization because it pollutes. It destroys. The chemicals that they make, they dump it somewhere. And it has saturated the earth. And therefore, when you look at what Yahweh has instructed us to do and what man has done without the guidance of Yahweh instruction, they're so mad, they thinking about, well, let's end all this big population. That's not your right. You are a administrator of the wealth of the earth, but it's not yours. The wealth of the earth is for everybody. But you so greedy, you think that you own it all. If you have it all, you ain't going to be satisfied.
You already have it all.
That's right. He still ain't satisfied. And he always going down picking on people that can't defend themselves. That's right. And as soon as he come to the door of somebody, he wouldn't have went into Iraq if he thought they would have had some major opposition before they got there. You ain't see him going in any other place because they gonna give him a fit. They're saying they might as well nuke him because there ain't gonna be no situation that you coming in here beating on us. People see he got a television thing showing what he done to Iraq. That those people in all types of confusion. And I blame them for allowing and perpetuating the system. You won people. Even their leader, he might have been a tyrant, but he said, look, stop fighting each other. Stop fighting each other. Matter of fact, what you need to do is stop fighting. Because all you're doing is killing each other. There's the very victory you could have, you can't have. Someone then gave you a gun, and you want to bomb the person because he is a different religion, his color is different. Everybody loses. You might as well put down the gun and come to a conclusion so that life would be, that you might save lives and that the circumstances might be approached in another way. But this way, all you're doing is having carnage of people, and their blood is all over the street. You taking your loved ones is a waste of time. You're the loser. The guy that's murdering you, and you allowing it by you having your actions being inflamed because you want to get back at him and you want to get back at the other guy. You're the loser. You can't even sit at your own table and eat. You can't see that your children grow up. They have taken your land, it's finished. It ain't nothing there worth fighting for now. What you gonna fight for? They done saturated the land with blood. So you might as well put down the guns and go to the table and hope that something that can be, it would be better that it be worked out in a conference room than it be worked out on the battlefield. Because you ain't going to win. So the point is, and this has been proven in the North and South, they went at each other. And who was really the winner? You can't win in the battlefield, especially if it's a war that is perpetual with no end in sight. You must preserve lives by going to what? The conference table. But at the same time, we all must venture into our own destiny by any means possible that we see fit. So if you see fit to keep the war going, then that's your destiny. But we must, we have time, and Yahweh has given us this time, that we may sit and we may learn about ourselves, and we may apply the right thing for our own survival. And what is that right thing? That right thing is keeping of the commandments of Yahweh. And we're going to further our lesson after this prayer. Yahweh Elohayama. Yahweh Elohayama. May Yahweh continue to bless us and keep us and strengthen us. Amen. So, as we get and return back, let us see that our circumstances is favorable to us because Yahweh is working a situation that He will bring about for us in the days to come. Let us go to Isaiah 51. Isaiah 51 will help us understand that Yahweh God, Isaiah 51 verse 22, what does it say?
Thus saith Yahweh, and thus saith thy Lord Yahweh, and thy God, that pleadeth the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thy hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury. Thou shalt no more drink it again, but I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee, which have said to thy soul,
okay, so he says,
we may go over.
So he says here, that he says, even the dregs of the cup of my fury, thou shalt no more drink it again, but I will put it in the hands of them that afflict thee. So Yahweh has taken the cup of trembling, and He has taken it out of our hand. And therefore, in the book of Lamentation, that is right after Jeremiah, the book of Lamentation, chapter 4, verse 24. And he said, what?
There is no 4, verse 24.
Lamentation chapter 4?
Chapter 4,
verse 21.
21.
Yeah.
He said 24.
Okay.
Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Eden, that dwellest in the land of us. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken, and shalt make thyself naked. The punishment of thy iniquities is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thy iniquities, O daughter of Eden.
See,
He will discover thy sins.
So he's saying to rejoice and be glad, O daughters of Edom, that dwelleth in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through thee, shall pass through unto thee, that thou shalt be drunken and shall make thyself naked. In other words, they're going to reveal themselves to the world. The punishment of thy iniquity is accomplished, O daughters of Zion. See, our punishment is finished. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thy iniquities, O daughters of Edom. He will discover thy sins. So Yahweh God is passing the cup. And therefore, as it says in the book of Joel, Yahweh God is passing this cup. And in the book of Joel, he tells them exactly as he passed this cup, what is his total intention. In Joel chapter 3 verse 2, he says, and I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead there with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. So Yahweh God has passed this cup, and he's going to plead. And as we go to Exodus chapter 21, because see, Yahweh God wouldn't be a righteous God if he didn't do that which is totally fair, and he does. He does in Exodus chapter 21 verse 22, it says to 25, if a man strives and hurt a woman with child so that her fruit depart from her, and yet no mischief follow, he shall be surely punished according as the woman's husband will lay upon him, and he will pay as the judges determine. And if any mischief follow, then thou shalt give life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burning for burning, wound for wound, stripe for stripe. In other words, it is a law that helps you to be responsible for your actions. That you just not become random in your actions and not become responsible when the actions that you participate in is an action that will cause harm. You have to pay for it. It's no other way. You understand? If you kicked the devil and hit him and raped his wife and did every foul thing, he would want you to be punished too. People want retribution. You understand? Because in their helplessness, they have those that have persecuted them. Don't believe that anybody that's dead in the grave by the mishap, purposely by someone taking their lives, is not angry. You understand? Don't think these Indians and these slaves that came, they blessing the master. They cursing him. You understand what I'm saying? And he should be cursed. You understand? You can't be overly forgiving to somebody that perpetuate the continuous circumstances after, whether you live or die. He perpetrates the same circumstances on your family, and some of y'all get some money and get some jobs and say, let's forgive him. You can't. You have to ask a person who endured the circumstances. If you haven't endured the harshness of if you haven't been the victim, then you ain't got nothing to cry about. But them slaves that went, you're saying to the people, well, we should forgive them and let bygones. How you mean? Ask the guy that got murdered. is he want bygones for bygones. He want the head of his children. They have brought about atrocities where children have been left because of what they have done. They have been widows in the earth because they have what? Defiled the land with nothing else but murder. Dropping bombs and saying, oh, well, the casualty is all right. You know, some of the civilians have to die anyway. Ask the civilians, is it all right with them? Ask them. You know, it wouldn't be all right with the people dropping the bombs if they dropped it on their house. That's the judgment. And therefore, you know, when we look and we go into Psalm and we're talking about Yahweh, we go into Psalm 137 and see. Ain't nobody talking about forgiving him. He needs to forgive himself by doing what is right. That's how he get forgiven. If you're going to perpetuate beating on somebody, they ain't going to be sorrowful when you start getting yours back, because it relieves them of the pressure that you have put upon them. It's Psalm 137 starting at verse 8.
O daughter